There are few things that are better than a cup of coffee at camp.
But don't squish it down yet. All the coffee bubbles up.
Let me show you guys this composition book that was my mother in the 70s. Love my mama.
Oh, love my girl.
We're gonna make a recipe from this composition book, from my mom's recipe book, and we're gonna do it in the Dutch oven to do it outdoors. We've picked a recipe for this episode that goes so well with some coffee. It's a classic camp meal, especially in that campfire Dutch oven.
Do you like coffee?
Do you love coffee?
Well, we do, and we make it almost every day, so we want to show you some ways that we do it.
We're gonna tell you guys how to brew some awesome camp coffees, and 3 different kinds, which are our favorite.
All 3 make delicious coffee, and when you're outside, you know everything tastes better anyway.
There are few things that are better than a cup of coffee at camp. Our 3 favorite ways that we make the perfect camp coffee. For today's coffee choice, we are actually gonna have a light roast. I can smell it. It smells so good. Can't get enough of that. It sniffs so good. These are whole beans, so we're gonna have to grind them up. And you guys know that I have my trusty hand grinder. This thing is a vintage hand grinder. It's made in Italy, so we really don't even know how old it is, to be honest, but it still grinds that coffee so well. The first cup of coffee that we're gonna make is probably the most difficult and one of the newer kinds to us. It's actually an Aeropress. We've been seeing fellow YouTubers and our fellow campers been using this, and we were really curious as to how it worked, and I gotta say, it makes a delicious cup of coffee.
It's darker than some of the other ones. I like it. I don't like a watery cup of coffee, and the Aeropress definitely gives you a perfect cup.
So the Aeropress was a bit of a learning curve for me, because when you first use it, this is the plunger, and this is the part where you'd have the coffee and the water in it, but you put the plunger in it, and you kind of put it at the top part, so the plunger is all the way up, and then you turn it over, and you put in the coffee and you put in the water into here. What you do is you put your scoop of coffee right into the Aeropress. Right now we're waiting on that water to boil, but you want to make sure after that water boils, you want to let it sit for 2 minutes or so, just to let it cool down, because you don't want to burn your coffee. Once your water cools down just a little bit, you're going to pour it into the Aeropress. Whenever you buy a new Aeropress, they give you this little paddle thing, and it's to mix up your coffee. Once you pour the water into the coffee grinds, you're going to want to stir it a little bit. Also comes with your Aeropress are these little paper filters. So it's just a simple little circle. You put it in the lid. There's little holes in there, and this acts as a filter. Once you have the water in with the coffee grinds, let that brew for about a minute. All right, it's been a minute, and this coffee is ready to be flipped. So what you're gonna wanna do, since the plunger is on the bottom, what you do is you take it and you flip it over on top of whatever mug or cup you're gonna be using. Once that's brewed, you have it flipped over, you put it on top of your mug, you're going to wanna push the plunger down slowly. You're gonna hear that air that's in there escape. Your coffee is ready to be enjoyed. Amber, come here, over here.
I'm right here! It's time to try the Aeropress coffee. Let's see, let's try it. We don't have any creamer or sugar or anything, just so you can really taste the coffee. And I'm so glad we did, because it is delicious. It is so nice. I can see me drinking this in the morning and the afternoon. Throw some almond milk creamer in there, and it's a drink. But we're all about simple, and that's what we've done here today.
Simple. If we're just like having a quick cup of coffee on the go, Aeropress is my go-to, baby. Our second brew method is going to be a Mocha Pot. I call it a bialetti because this is the brand, but this style is known as a Mocha Pot. It makes a nice little cup of espresso.
The first time I tried what we call this bialetti coffee was the first time I ever fell in love with homemade coffee. There's some magic in there, and we're gonna show you how we make it. Bialetti, this Mocha Pot makes strong coffee like an espresso, so you use a cute little cup for it, which we have this one here. It's so easy. First, all you do is unscrew the bottom So it's in 2 separate pieces. And inside the bottom piece here is the filter. It's removable, it's really easy, it's hard to lose. Well, I mean, it's pretty big is all I'm saying. So you fill this base with water.
So bialetti is similar to how a percolator works. Pressure from the boiling water forces the water up through the coffee grinds, and in the top portion is your espresso.
I guess I just call that summary magic, but you're way more technical. Okay, so we have the water in the base, we have the filter here.
Basically what you want to do is take your coffee grinds. The more coffee grinds you put in there, the stronger it's going to be. We don't want anything too strong because it's afternoon right now. We're not trying to stay up all night.
What you do is after you put the grinds in, you use a spoon or something flat to press the grounds in, get it all dense like this.
There you go. Make special tools for that, but we don't need all that.
You take your base with the water, you add the coffee grounds that are flattened in there, place it right in. From here, get the top, screw it on, and honestly, there you have it. Now you have to boil it. So when you cook it either on a stove top, which we're using, or any kind of hot surface that you have, even if you're camping, you just boil it right on there, and then guess what happens? All the coffee bubbles up. It bubbles up into the top. And so that's how you know it's done, because when the amount of water that you put into it produces on the top is coffee, it's ready.
When we're done brewing all these coffee, we will tell you guys what our favorite method is, each of our favorite methods.
Be sure you comment in the comment sections which one you like the best out of these 3. We always want to hear from you. We want to know what works for you. I love it. This would be so nice in the morning.
Bialetti's like a little Italian cup of coffee. So along with a little pastry, little sugar, you dip it in there.
You know, I love it on a really hot day when I'm really hot and I'm drinking coffee. I love that the most.
It's like 90 degrees out here. We're just making cups of coffee, you guys. That's how much we love coffee.
All for you.
All right, you guys remember that composition book that was my mom's recipe book in the 70s? I talked about it in the beginning of this video. It's time to cook. We're making a camp classic. This is one of her recipes from her recipe book, and it's gonna be done Honey I Roam style in the Dutch oven. We're gonna be doing a summertime, juicy, delicious peach and nectarine fruit cobbler. We're gonna be using fresh peaches and nectarines and just cutting those up. We're gonna preheat our Dutch oven. We're gonna drop in a stick of butter. What I meant to say was butter. We're gonna let that melt a little bit, and then we're gonna mix together flour, sugar, and milk. We're gonna mix that up really good. We're gonna pour it into the bottom with that butter. We're not gonna mix it up. We're gonna throw the peaches on top and then pour some more sugar on top. And then what's gonna happen while that bakes is that flour goodness is gonna get all golden and it's gonna poof up to the top. It's magic. If you guys want the full recipe and measurements, message us on our Instagram at Honey I Roam, and I'll be glad to give you that information. Right now though, it's top secret because it's from my mom's special recipe book from the 70s. It's actually her grandma, Nanny's recipe, so it goes back some time, you guys. This is a classic Southern fruit cobbler right here. It's the real deal.
Now for our third method of making coffee. This is the French press. This is a tinier one than we use most of the time, but this is new and we love it. A lot of times we make too much coffee, and this is the perfect amount. The first step is you heat up water, and now you don't watch the pot boil because it never will, so we'll step away. Don't look. Now that the water is boiled on the stove, we're gonna wait just a couple of minutes so it's not a rolling boil anymore, because otherwise it might burn everything. Now open the French press so it's empty. Now we're gonna heat up the French press.
You're gonna wanna heat up the French press, so just use a little bit of that hot water in here, swivel it around a couple times, and then dump it out. You can reuse the water if you want, but we're camping right now and that's not the situation. We're gonna use a scoop of coffee in this French press just because it's a little guy. What you're gonna wanna do is pour a little bit of the water into those coffee grinds just so you can get that good frothiness. I'll show you. We added just a tiny bit of water in the coffee grinds just to let all those oils come out in the coffee, and we're gonna let it sit for about 30 seconds and just steep in there.
Now add the rest of the water.
I wanna stir it a few times, put the lid back on, and let it brew for about 4 minutes.
But don't squish it down yet. That's the key. I always get excited and want to squish it down, but that's what you have to wait the 4 minutes to do.
Like Amber said, don't squish it down.
Don't squish it down. Yeah, it's been about 4 minutes and it's time to squish.
Squish.
We're gonna plunge her down. Starting from the top, you hold the handle, slowly and gently push the grinds to the bottom of the press.
And if you can see all that lovely froth on the top there, we're gonna taste test this French press with that fruit cobbler.
Thank you. Hot.
We have some of those fresh peaches and nectarines that I cut up and put in there. It's so golden and fluffy.
It's like chewy and fresh
and fluffy.
Fluffy.
Oh, yum.
Buttery. Oh my god.
It's super buttery. I don't even know if my mom actually puts a whole stick of butter in there, but I did. Because butter.
Talk about camping meal. Now for our favorite. We have to tell you, it's definitely a difficult decision. Each of the coffee makers are wonderful, but dun dun dun. Giulietta.
You go first.
No, you!
I think I know what Amber's gonna say. I actually know already. But I'm gonna go and I'm gonna say that I really think I love the Aeropress the most because it's newer to me, so I've been having fun with it. But what I utilize the most is probably a French press. Yeah, I think the Aeropress is really delicious cup of coffee.
I like your decision. I respect it.
Thank you. What's yours?
Dun dun dun. Out of these 3 ways to brew coffee, my favorite is the bialetti.
The Mocha Pot.
The Mocha Pot.
I knew you were gonna say that.
I feel like the coffee tastes more like from a cafe.
Thank you so much for watching this video. We are
Honey I Roam. Please subscribe to our channel. It's over there. Click the like button, which is the thumbs up. Write us a comment. Let us know what you think, where we should go next, because we love you. We're a lot of, okay.
Let me say something. A lot of you have been asking.
That's better. Okay.
And then you know that your coffee is ready to be drank. Your coffee is ready to be drank. Okay. I know, I'm like freaking bit. Is it a deer fly?
Yep.
Interesting fact, light roasts actually have more caffeine than dark roasts.
It's so hot though.
Okay. Bialetti is super Italian, little kind of
cup.
It is such a nice treat. I love it in the afternoon. It's my preferred afternoon type of cup of coffee.
Is it done?